Welcome to the All About You podcast. My name is Sheila and I am your host. In this podcast, I invite people to tell their stories of their travels, hobbies and passions. These podcasts are also now available on my All About You YouTube channel. So if you have a story to tell, please contact me on allaboutyoupodcast@yahoo.com and let's tell your story. Welcome back to the All About You podcast with Pier, and we're off to London now, Pier.
Well, Sheila, thank you. Well, after a very unstable posting during the last year in Venezuela, well, there were many strikes in Venezuela, so it took 3 months for the sea freight from Venezuela to arrive in London. So the first 3 months we spent in a hotel right in the center of London and very close to a metro station to reach my work. So, yeah, it was fantastic. So we had the chance to see all the musicals, museums, visit the many parks and castles, and by the way, also my work.
Yeah, let's not forget Pierre is doing a bit of work, not just enjoying the different countries.
Finally, we settled in Gerrards Cross. Gerrards Cross is a small town, a typical English town, a posh town with on the west side of London, and the houses have those white walls with the black beams.
Very nice.
Beautiful. And that house had a big fireplace and all wooden floor, mosaic, not mosaic, but the jacket.
Beautiful.
Wooden floors, beautiful. I knew that the posting in London was a short posting, as the work was concentrated on a huge project for Shell in Russia, Sakhalin. And we knew when the design of the oil and gas installations were mature enough, we had to move to the island, to Sakhalin. So we had to hurry up on exploring the UK.
So if it hadn't taken so long for your personal effects to be transported, you may not have had this opportunity to explore the UK, because you've got around quite a bit here.
I got but normally you get a month the time, in some cases 2 weeks the time to look for a house, an apartment or whatever. But in this case, we didn't have our belongings. It took longer, yeah. And to be in the middle of London, yeah, that was excellent with the very good public transport system. We could reach every place what we want. Yeah, it was very good.
Yes.
By the way, Gerrards Cross also had a good connection with London City.
Yeah.
First by train and then subway, and so. When we went to musicals on Saturday evening, for example, then most of the time we took the train and metro, because by car coming into London was a nightmare.
Even then it was a nightmare.
So, and Gerrards Cross was close by Windsor. So many visits to the beautiful parks there, especially in winter, with all the deer and the snow, and of course Windsor Castle. And there was also a Legoland nearby, because my son was still small. England has so much to offer. So, for example, another trip was Bath, a town in Somerset in southwest England, where the Romans built their hot springs baths. By the way, those baths were still in a very good condition, after 2,000 years. And of course, Brighton on the south, the beach town, on the south coast with its palm trees on the boulevard. Another visit was to the house of Shakespeare in Stratford upon Avon. It was very impressive. All his stuff was there in the rooms. His house was a kind of museum. Nobody can escape the Stonehenge, Salisbury. That is amazing. This prehistoric monument which goes back 5,000 years.
As an engineer, how did they erect those stones? Do we know yet, or is there still just theories?
No, I think there, they explain it in a movie there, in the visitor center. So they make an hole and then they slide the stone and then balance it over.
Okay.
And then erect it and then fill up the hole. That was very well explained there in the movie, yeah.
Because I think the last time I went to Stonehenge, there was no visitor centre. You could go up to the stones, you could touch them. That was many, many, many years ago. But now I think you can't actually go up to the stones and touch them unless you have special permission or you're part of a group or something. So none of that was there. It was basically a piece of land with the stones, and that was it.
Yeah, you're right. Now it is protected.
It's all protected.
There's a kind of chain fence.
Yeah, that's it. You can't go too close to it now.
But it is a very vast area, Stonehenge. It is not only the stones upright. It has a vast, big area around it. Still, areas which they discover.
Yeah. It's an amazing place.
Yeah, and you know what is another nice thing in the UK? There are so many castles.
Yes, we do have a lot of history.
And then most of those castles are open for the public, and especially in the weekends they do performances and exhibitions. Yeah, we really liked it. And Kew Gardens in London itself, that was located nearby the design office where I worked. So yeah, we were visiting the place a lot of time. And when it is raining, no problem, because Kew Gardens has a lot
inside. You've got the greenhouses, which are amazing.
Yeah. And we had friends in York, that is in the northern part, which was in the early days the capital of the Vikings. That was in the 800s, and we were visiting York during the Viking festival. They have the markers and plays with the people dressed as Vikings. And what also is nice in York is the British Railway Museum. That is huge. And you see there all the first issues of the famous locomotives, the trains. Oh, I liked it very much. At home I still have my model train. I had Fleischmann. My brother had Marklin, I think. But I still have it here.
You still got it? Wow, it's probably worth a fortune now.
Well, I don't know. But yeah, that was York. And yeah, the Eurotunnel had to be explored as well. So one time we took the car and the car went on the train and to Paris. And the nice thing was that the same morning that we left the house, we had coffee on a Paris terrace.
So nice and quick.
Yes. There are so many places to visit. It depends on the weather. When it was raining, and it was raining a lot, of course, that was time for the museums. But Oxford, for example, was a beautiful city. We couldn't get into the buildings in Oxford, but when my nephew Alex was studying in Oxford, he showed us all the in and outs of Oxford. So we visited the big hall where in the Harry Potter movies they feature the big dining hall and the stairs and so on. Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, that was Harry Potter. Well, next to it was not all pleasure, of course, because the work was quite hectic as well. Every 2 weeks a flight to Holland to discuss the progress in the Shell headquarters. And on top of that, regular flights to Sakhalin. Sakhalin is a part of the Federation of Russia, on the most far east part of Russia. the flight took 2 days, first from London to Moscow and Moscow to Yuzhno on Sakhalin. And when we arrived in Yuzhno as team, then we had to do another day in a train ride, 800 kilometers to the north of Sakhalin, where that was the construction site of one of the projects of the Sakhalin Energy. So after a while we knew that it was coming. So in August 2004 it was the moment to transfer to a new posting, and it was Yuzhno on Sakhalin Island.
I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please subscribe on whatever platform you are using. It is free, and if you would like to tell your story, please contact me on allaboutyoupodcast@yahoo.com and let's tell your story.